Welcome to your new Easy Bend 90-degree tubing bender. Designed to bend round and square tubing, pipe, and even flat stock material up to 90 degrees in one easy operation. Included with your Easy Bend, you'll receive your choice of 4 standard heat-treated aluminum dies, allowing for effective bending of a variety of material. All standard dies will bend up to .134 wall chrome moly, DOM, or electric weld. In addition to 13 available standard dies, there are additional optional dies including square die and flat die sets. Before you begin bending, make sure you have a pencil and paper, a marking pen, a standard tape measure, a builder's square, a calculator, and a good angle finder handy. The Easy Bend tubing bender should be mounted on a suitable stand or workbench using the holes in the bottom of the frame. Level the unit in all directions. Next, connect it to your 10-ton Porta-Power pump or air foot pump. If you do not have a pump, they too are available from Mid-American. We'll get into the measuring process in just a few minutes, but first, to get comfortable with the unit, let's start with a standard 90-degree bend. First, attach the die that fits your tubing material to the unit using the large pin. The 1-inch and 1 1/4 inch dies will utilize the bottom mounting hole, while the 1 1/2 inch and 1 3/4 inch dies will utilize the top mounting hole. With the die attached, slip the correct bending hook over the material and attach it to the die using the smaller pin. Next, slip your tubing through the die and the bending hook from behind. Now slide the follow bar and steel plate under the material until it rests against the back of the die. You are now ready to make the bend. Activate the pump. You will begin to see the tube bend. Continue the pump process until you are close to the desired angle, in this case 90 degrees. Using your angle finder, first check the angle of the flat end of the material to make sure that it's level. Next, with the pump pressure still on, check the angle of the bend. When the pressure is released, the tubing may spring back, sometimes as much as 4 or 5 degrees, so be sure to go a little past your desired angle. If you're satisfied, release the pressure from the pump and recheck the angle. If you feel you need more bend, activate the pump and continue the bending process. Remember, it's difficult to put the material back in the machine once the bend is made, so make sure to check and recheck your angles. When you're comfortable with the bend, release the pump pressure and take the finished piece out of the machine by releasing the die, sliding the follow bar and steel plate out of the back and removing the material. Once the piece is out, examine it closely. Double check the angle with a square and tape measure. Note that it can take as much as 9 inches of material to make a 6-inch bend. That fact will become critical when you get into more complicated projects like hoops or door bars, where the distance between 2 bends on a single piece of material is critical. The Bend It computer program included with your bender makes the measuring process easier, but you should learn how to measure and bend material without it. For example, say you needed a 90-degree bend at 18 inches. First, measure 18 inches from one end of the material and make a small mark. Because it takes excess material for the actual bend, you need to add some length. For 5-inch dies, it takes an additional 4.25 inches of material. For 6-inch dies, an additional 4.75 inches. Because we're using a 5-inch die, we measure an additional 4.25 inches, making the total measurement 22.25 inches from the end of the material. Mark this new spot with a piece of tape. This is where the bend will start. Again, attach the die that fits your tubing to the unit using the large pin. With the die attached, slip the correct bending hook over the material and attach it to the die using the smaller pin. Next, slip the tubing through the die from behind. For long material, you may consider making a guide using a piece of material welded to a stand and coped to fit the material. Now slide the follow bar and steel plate under the material until it rests against the back of the die. Adjust the material with the front of the bending hook. When it is aligned, put a little pressure on the piece by activating the pump. Once the piece is securely in place, recheck the alignment just to be sure. You are now ready to make the bend. Follow the bending procedure discussed earlier. Remember to check and recheck the finished angle to make certain that you are at 90 degrees. When you're finished, if you did everything right, you should have exactly 18 inches from the end of the material to the completed 90-degree bend. While it may seem complicated at first, this measuring process will soon become second nature to you. Also available from Mid-American is the Easy Bend Tubing Notcher. It features needle bearings and a grease fitting to ensure long life. You can also make angle cuts up to 60 degrees. Simply install the notcher in your drill press. Attach the proper size hole saw. Install the material as shown. Tighten the clamp. Grip the tubing and make the cut. Medium speed and light pressure will make the easiest cut. When completed, the perfectly contoured end will fit snugly onto another piece of material where it can be welded into place. The joint will be as strong as it can possibly be.